Yes, indeed, it is that time for another episode of What Makes Amherstburg Great. I'm Nathan Carr. I am along with Richard Peddie. And Richard, this week, and for the first time on the show, we've got a special guest with us. Did you want to introduce him?
Yes, absolutely. And we are going to bring in special guests occasionally during the course of this, but we've got a real rock star in our first guest here.
If
you read Marty Gervais' resume, holy shit. Can I say that on air? Holy shit. It is it's incredible. This man is a poet. He's been the poet laureate of the city of Windsor. He's a photographer. He's going to talk about that today. He is, he was a journalist for a long time at the Windsor Star. He just does it all. And he's been recognized with numerous events. So I'm really pleased that we've teamed up with Marty, and he's here today to be interviewed.
And I am familiar with and a fan of the work, so I can't wait to get into this. Let's talk about the book, Amherstburg, a River Town. What is your inspiration, Marty?
My inspiration is small town in Ontario, essentially. I love small towns. I grew up in two small towns, Riverside, Ontario. When I was growing up, it was an actual town. It wasn't part of Windsor. And then I moved to the north, to Bracebridge, Ontario. And so my interest, when I got to meet Richard and started coming out to Amherstburg, I'm interested in the characters in this town. I'm interested in the heritage buildings. I'm interested in just sitting and watching and observing.
And not only is that interest shown through your words, but it also leaps off the page in terms of visual. There are a lot of photos in this book, aren't there?
There are more than 50 photos in the book. And so I sort of sit back. When I say I sit back and observe, and I take pictures. I take pictures of daily life in Amherstburg. I love the heritage buildings, so there are pictures of those, but there are pictures of characters that go to the street events. I didn't realize until I met Richard, who lured me to this town, how many great things are happening in this community. And I can't believe it. I mean, it reminded me of my childhood in Bracebridge and the events that we would have. Mm-hmm. And the town is very much alive and very much a town that's engaged in community. I mean, I went not only to the street events, but kept seeing these big signs for the fish fry at the Legion. And I thought, I want to see what that's like. I walked in the door a little nervous because I'm a stranger.
Sure, yeah.
But immediately bought a ticket, and I found myself there for about 2 hours, just talking to people, which is what I like to do, and getting to know the people there, watching these people working in the kitchen and the kind of community. These are the moms and dads and uncles and aunts and children of this town there for a Friday night fish fry. This was like a page out of my childhood.
So, it's interesting, Marty, how many months were you around town?
Probably about 12 or 13 months.
So I was worried the police were going to pick him up. Here's this guy,
I know.
Kind of lurking around town. When you see the book, it's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's not the obvious photographs.
No, it is. And that's what I like. I mean, people say, well, you must have shot pictures of Fort Malden. Well, of course I did, but there isn't a picture of a person shooting a rifle.
Yeah.
You have to kind of look a little bit more closely. I mean, it's the kind of thing that I'm driving out of town one night, basically at twilight, and I see the buildings of Fort Malden. I see the sunset behind it. I see the trees, the very stark kind of wintry trees. And I take a picture of this. And you have to kind of look a little bit harder to realize that it's part of Fort Malden. Some people who have lived here all their life looked at the picture and say, I've seen that before. And then I tell them what it was, and they say, oh, yes, of course, now I recognize it. And that's the kind of thing that I look for, is not really the kind of postcard picture that you would find in a lot of places.
You go around all these places. How does that make you feel inside? Does that fill you with a sense of pride? Does it fill you with a sense of wonder?
It certainly makes me feel the sense of wonder, and maybe pride as well. But it's those moments, for example, one time I went into a building on Murray Street. The owner of Hotel Story brought me into this building across the street. I went upstairs. The place is completely vacant. But when I got upstairs and the floors are groaning, and I was told that this was an old dance hall. And suddenly I'm thinking, I can almost see this, the sway of the dancers. I feel the honky-tonk music going on. I'm very much a part my imagination is very much a part of what this place was back in the 1920s. And that's the kind of wonder and feeling and aura that I get from being in some of these places in Amherstburg.
I feel like I could talk to you all day long about listening to some of these stories because you got them and you can see your face light up too when you talk about them. This book is on sale now. Where can listeners pick it up?
We can pick it up at River Bookshop, and it's a book that I think everyone in Amherstburg is going to want a copy of. They're going to be curious about who's in the book and curious about the way these buildings and these places look.
What's your favorite part of the book?
My favorite part of the book actually is Bellevue means something to me. And I'll tell you what, do I have a minute to
You got a quick minute. I'll give you one for you,
Okay.
Marty.
I went to the very back of the property, and there's an old greenhouse back there. And I went to the very back of the property because Catherine Reynolds, who was a landscape artist who lived in that building, stood there and drew a picture and painted a picture. And I wanted to be in that spot seeing Bellevue.
That's fantastic. Richard, we're going to wrap it up this week with Marty. How do you want to close out? This is an exclusive book, by the way, to River Bookshop.
It is. First of all, 50 plus beautiful photographs, different photographs. But Marty's also a real storyteller. And when you read this, it's just wonderfully done. And we're at the River Bookshop. We're delighted to team up with Marty once again.
I think we got a great taste of the storytelling just here right now. Thank you so much for being here with us, Marty. Pleasure having you on. And we'll look forward to seeing this book as it is out now at River Bookshop. That's it for another episode of What Makes Amherstburg Great. We'll catch you on the next one.